The Prime Minister visited my home for a purely private event. It was not a public event. Well, I do feel that, there was absolutely nothing wrong for the simple reason that these are continuing meetings between the judiciary and the executive, even at a social level. We meet in Rashtrapati Bhavan. We meet on the occasion of the 26th of January, on the 15th of August, when an incoming Chief Justice is coming, when an outgoing Chief Justice is going, when a foreign head of state is visiting, and you are in conversation with ministers, you are in conversation with the Prime Minister, you are in conversation with the President, with the Vice President. Now, these conversations do not involve conversations about the cases which we decide, but conversations about life and society in general. For instance, when I'm sitting next to a foreign head of state, or I'm engaging in a conversation with maybe a senior minister, I would probably ask them something very interesting about world affairs. So there has to be this sense of maturity in the political system to understand this and to trust our judges. Because ultimately the work which we do is evaluated by our written word. Everything that we decide is, unlike, say, many other systems, not kept in the wraps. Our reasons are open to scrutiny. Why we have decided a case is open to scrutiny. Separation of powers concept does not postulate that the judiciary and the executive are antagonistic in the sense that they will not meet or that they will not engage in a reasoned dialogue. In the states, there is a very well-established protocol in several states, including states where I have served as a judge and then as a Chief Justice, of the Chief Justice and the Administrative Committee of the High Court meeting the Chief Minister, and on the next occasion, the Chief Minister meeting the Chief Justice in their residence. And in most of these meetings, for instance, when I took over as Chief Justice of the Allahabad High Court, you're discussing basic issues which concern the judiciary: budgeting, infrastructure, homes for the district judges, new courtrooms, technology. And because the budget, we have to realize, comes from the executive. And unless you talk to, well, you could do that on paper and then wait for the next 5 years to get your issues resolved. There's a question of prioritizing your projects. So, there is this very robust dialogue which takes place between the executive and the judiciary on the administrative side, which has nothing to do with the judicial work which you do as judges. That's one thing which I must clarify. What the separation of powers postulates is that the judiciary should not be performing the role of the executive, which is defining policies, because the power to frame policies belongs to the government. The court can decide on the legitimacy, the constitutional validity of a policy or a legislation. Likewise, the executive doesn't decide cases. The legislature doesn't decide cases. The court doesn't frame laws. That's the essence of the separation of powers doctrine.